Hello and welcome to another video chat in the garden of 337 South Street in Elora. And summer is a-coming in. With record temperatures that we've been witnessing in the western part of Canada, we can definitely say that summer has arrived. And the humidity from the western Canada has now moved into southern Ontario. Beautiful day, thank goodness for the breeze. I'm here with my dear friend Hugh Brewster, a writer and historian and a great raconteur. And we're going to bring you some selections of some summer music today. Now, I know in this hot, humid times, we're going to take you back to the coolness of a medieval abbey and talk about one of the oldest pieces of choral music, Summer Is A-Comin' In.
Yes, it's sometimes called the cuckoo song because it repeats the Ludicing cuckoo refrain. It's also known as the Reading Rota because it was discovered at Reading Abbey in England, although we don't know whether it was written there or not. It's sometimes ascribed to a 13th century monk called William of Wykeham, and a copy of it is carved into the stone wall of the old chapter house at Reading Abbey. Now it's called the Reading Rota. Noel, can you describe what a rota is?
Yeah, it's an old term, and it describes a round, like
Row
your boat. Yeah, somebody
it's the same
starts
idea.
and you'll follow and you do it around.
Right.
And that is basically the old term for a rota. But this was written in the Wessex dialect of Middle English and celebrates the fruitful summer season where the ewe is bleating after her lamb or the cow is lowing after her calf.
And the billy goat is farting.
Oh boy, you had to say that, did you?
Well, you know, it's in
You're
my
English.
It's in my DNA.
Yes, your DNA.
I'm British, and bodily functions are a
Yes.
source of endless amusement to those of us from the British Isles. But this is actually the earliest known printed use of the word fart. How's that?
Good Lord.
And it comes about 100 years before Chaucer, and we know how much Chaucer enjoyed and his characters enjoyed earthy humor.
We should have edited this script, actually, before we started. However, before Hugh gets carried away too much with the earthy attributes of life, let's listen to this rather modern version of a choral setting of Summer Is A-Comin' In.
Summer is a-comin' in, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, oh they sing cuckoo, crow and set the laurel bed, and spring the wood anew, sing cuckoo. Summer is a-comin' in, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, you will eat and after that, la la la, moving on to blue, still like a baby, moving baby, sing cuckoo. Summer is a-comin' in, sing cuckoo, oh they sing cuckoo, 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 bursting is the cuckoo, it's sweet the cuckoo, cuckoo, sing 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 cuckoo,
Moving forward 6 centuries, we come to the great English composer Frederick Delius, who lived from 1862 through to 1934 and wrote some very dreamy, lovely music. In 1917, he wrote 2 songs to be sung of a summer night on the water. They're composed for a 6-part choir, but with no words. One of Delius's biographers has written that some of Delius's most transcendently ecstatic moments are entrusted to a wordless chorus, as if no words could adequately convey the peculiar fullness of the moment.
Yeah, the sound of wordless singing on the water is something that Delius first experienced in his early 20s. He was raised in Yorkshire in the town of Bradford in a German family. His father had emigrated to Yorkshire to become a wool merchant and had done very well. And it was thought that Delius would join his brothers, his older brothers, in the family firm. But music was young Fritz, as he was then known, Fritz Delius. Music was his passion. And so the family, when he was about 22, sent him to Florida to get some practical business sense and manage an orange grove south of Jacksonville at a plantation that was called Solano Grove. Now, there Delius became fascinated by African American music. They apparently had African American choirs that toured in England in the 19th century when he was a young man. But he loved the sound of the singing from the deckhands on the ships as they came down the St. Johns River, and from the workers in the orange grove. And it was there that he developed this love of wordless song coming across water that he then incorporated into quite a number of his works.
So now we're going to play a setting for you of To Be Sung of Summer Night on the Water. And this is performed by the John Rutter Singers in Cambridge.
But what about the Canadian songs of summer? They may be asking. Why no Canadian music? Well, it's for this reason that we're going to turn to another song, a contemporary folk song written in the Celtic style by Allister MacGillivray. It was written in 1973 and arranged by Stuart Calvert here for choir. And it's called Song for the Myra. And the Myra River is a major river in Cape Breton, and the lyrics of this song speak of a longing for an eventual return to the serenity of the Myra River and the Cape Breton region of Nova Scotia. It came to international attention by being performed by Anne Murray, but many other people have performed it as well, and the song has become a standard in the Celtic repertoire and an anthem of Cape Breton.
So before we close, My garden ends down by the banks of the Grand River, and which cuts through the dramatic Elora Gorge. And the two of us are going to take a walk along that river while this beautiful song evokes another Canadian river. So as summer turns into fall in a few months, and we hope the Edison singers will be back singing for you once again. In fact, I want to just take a few moments and share with you our upcoming season, which we are announcing, well, today and on our website. We are going to be performing again by November. We're going to be doing the Foray and Duraflay Requiems, both in Guelph at the Basilica, in Toronto, and in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And then in early December, we're going to do a special performance of Messiah at the Basilica in Guelph, then followed by 3 performances of a Festival of Carols in Elora and Toronto and in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And then in the winter, our plan is to be doing that great Rachmaninoff Vespers. And then in the spring, we have been asked to record 3 CDs of a Canadian composer, Tim Corliss, a dear friend, colleague, and composer who's written a lot for me over the years. And he's asked me and my choir to start recording all his works. So that's going to be a prize project over the next 3 years, and the first installment of it will be this spring. So there we are. I hope to see you at the concerts. We now have our charitable status, and the choir is keen to get back to work, as I'm sure every choir is. So with that, I think we're going to make our way down to the river, and please enjoy Song for the Myra.